Returning Republican Senator Chris Duenas joins us in the KUAM News Zoom room. Nah, Senator, not even a week in office already causing trouble, trying to take the governor's powers. Get too fun?
Happy day, Chris
Hey, good
and
morning.
Bree and Jason. And Happy New Year to the team there and the KUAM family. If I can just take a moment to join the Republican Party, the Democrat Party, and the governor's office, along with the legislature, and in my individual capacity to completely condemn the violence in our nation's capital. I think it is a horrible demonstration of anarchy and not democracy in action, and I hope it stops immediately if it hasn't already. And I pray for our nation and our island going forward. And I just wanted to be able to make that statement. And thank you for allowing me to do that, Chris and Bree. Um, yeah, Chris, listening to your opening discussion with Bree about this bill, you summed it up. So yeah, I see you guys. Maybe we should go fishing now. You handled it well, Chris. The thing is that if I could just break it down, um, I could see early on in this pandemic when there was so much uncertainty, and I want to congratulate KUAM and your team. You've done an amazing job ever since this began. You have had professionals on board, you've had the medical team, you've had public health. You've really done your job to make sure that the community really understood from the medical perspective and what was going on. You even had doctors who were going at it. I've said this on the campaign trail, Chris, don't you understand the science? I said the science is arguing with the science. But you've done a great job, and you've done a lot to educate the people. So I want to congratulate you on that.
Hold on, Senator. Senator, stand by. Are we recording this? Okay. Okay, go on. You were saying.
Yeah. So for the first 4 to 5 months, I could really see where people understood the consistent renewal of the public health emergency. First of all, that's when the bulk of the federal monies were coming into Guam to help with this disaster. And we all know that emergency declarations and disasters. You need a certain amount of the government's declaration. In storms, we always go to the president, ask him to declare us a natural disaster area so that it opens up the spigot for federal funds to flow. And I completely understand all of that necessity and requirement. But as the months wore on, you saw with some of the procurement with quarantine facilities in the early phases, some senators had an oversight on that. They had difficulty with some of that procurement, and those operations were changed. I believe we saw that happen. There was some concerns really along the line with the open government law and some of the additional procurements. And then there was also, the governor at one point had requested additional powers, and that did not pass muster with the legislature. I think she wanted to continue to increase the traffic restrictions. There were several bills that were introduced and they did not pass at the legislature because I think the legislature felt as though what was in place was adequate. So fast forward to today, I think even with the surge in July and August going into September, we were notified that the capacity had been built up. We've built relationships with the Naval Hospital and the Admiral. We have additional resources for GMH. GRMC moved from being a non-COVID hospital to start taking COVID patients. And so you saw that the standing up of the resources, and I want to congratulate all the frontliners as much as I've congratulated you, that they've done everything that they can with the resources that they have. And you saw that capacity being built, and even the declaration from the governor that the capacity was adequate and that we were doing a good job and it was under control in terms of you brought in nurses, from stateside under emergency powers to be able to, take care of the crisis we had at the hospital with all the infections of medical personnel. So this is no way, casting aspersions on the management in particular. What this is an effort to ensure that we have broader communication, because while all this was happening, there were voices in the private sector coming from the businesses saying, we have met the requirements that other businesses have met. We have spent millions of dollars mitigating things, within our stores, within our restaurants, within our bars. We think we have reached the same capacity or better than the current businesses that are open. And so those voices started to become louder. I think you heard that primarily from the Action PAC when they formulated endorsements for this past election. And I think one of the other most vocal entities was the Realtors of Guam. They actually had their own PAC, and their major grievance is really not just real estate transactions via title and the like, but the fact that the Guam Land Use Commission hasn't been meeting, and there is $2 billion in pent-up demand to be able to move through the regulatory process of being approved. And so we talk about recovery, we talk about our economy, we talk about things we need to do. This is not only about the businesses, Chris and Bree, but this is about the operations of government. If I were governor right now, I would open up my conference room, the large conference room, the front office, and say, have the Guam Land Use Commission conduct its business down here. There's no reason why they can't social distance and get these applications going through, because that is what is going to set the stage for our economic recovery. We see in the paper today, construction is booming, but we need a workforce. Some of those projects, Chris and Bree, that are pending are workforce housing. Could you imagine if that doesn't go through? We don't build our workforce housing fast enough now that we've been given approval for more H2s, and they start taking up all the space in whatever apartments and houses that are left over, because that workforce has to have a place to stay. So there's a lot of operational issues in government that I think right now are under question. And I would like the legislature to have the ability to sit with the governor in the people's house to discuss these issues.
Okay.
Right on. So you're saying the legislature should have stepped up last year?
I think if they didn't feel like the community didn't feel, the legislature is the place of last resort. I want to congratulate Speaker Talahi. She immediately this week has opened up channels of communication to the minority. We have several different channels now that we're communicating directly with her. She has given us updates on all the meetings that she's had with the working groups and the front office. I am way more aware of what's going on Guam right now in the last 3 days than I've ever been, even as a candidate, even as somebody who wouldn't mind stopping by the governor's office from time to time to have coffee and discuss things. But the speaker is our leader, and she's done a wonderful job. I think so far, I think what the issue is you didn't see a lot of that communication. And there was in the 35th Guam legislature, I think, a reluctance to say, we need to have, our people are clamoring, that are not in government and that are not, on the medical side. The other people are clamoring that there's a certain appearance of unfairness on how these executive orders are continuing to come out and maybe open up poker houses and bingo and the like, but not my business. And I think that I've done just as much or more than they have to operate. So yeah, as Speaker Chalahi said, the legislature is where people come when the last resort. They've shopped themselves around, they've gone to every agency, they've made phone calls, they've gone to the governor's office, they've gotten on the media and talked to Chris and Bree and Jason. They've done everything they can, and finally they're at wit's end. They come to the legislature and say, can you hold a public hearing, because this is the people's house. This is where the government operates from our perspective. I heard the governor say that, if Chris has an issue, just pick up the phone and give me a call. Yes, Governor, I would love to do that consistently, but that's me and you talking. the people want to be heard as well, and they want to know that they're in on the decisions as much as possible. So that's really what this is all about, Chris and Bree.
Does your bill also remove then the provision inside the superpowers bill that allows the legislature to stop the executive order or to pull it back?
That's an excellent question.
Or not executive hour. I mean the public health emergency declaration.
That's an excellent question. I was actually floored when I heard the communications director come out and say, the legislature had power to stop this emergency at any time. This was debated during you guys know this bill's not new. I actually campaigned on doing this as one of my first orders of business if the people of Guam were to elect me. And the thing is that this was debated, and that very issue was discussed in a number of forums. And from what I understand, the legal review from the front office at the time was, I'm not so sure about that the legislature has the power to just come in and absolutely, shut it down. Now, I'm of the belief that we do, but why would you do that? Why would you do that without information? That's why this bill is the perfect precursor to an event like that. If we have 3 or 4 successive months of having the administration come down and the legislature approving going forward, and the business community and others were happy that it wasn't arbitrary and capricious the way additional operations were allowed to operate, I don't think we'd ever have an issue. But if it got to the point, exclusive of the need for federal funds to continue to flow, if it got to the point where it was enough, then I think the legislature would act. But I think the legislature would be completely out of control and reckless to just go in and say, okay, Governor, we want to play chicken with you and we're going to shut it down right now. That is not what the people of Guam expect from us.
Mm-hmm. Did you want to ask anything else about this?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I did want to ask then about Bill 15. Can you talk about Bill 15, the Citizens Legislative Reform Act?
Yes, Bree. Once again, it's no secret that those of us who were endorsed by the Action PAC in particular had a number of issues that they thought, as a business community, representative of Chamber of Commerce and other entities, they believe that these are initiatives that would improve Guam. Many of us that answered the questionnaire didn't answer yes to everything, or that we agreed with everything, but this is one thing that I did agree with. And, I believe going back to maybe the 28th legislature, this has been tried no less than 5 times with a bill to be introduced in the legislature for a part-time legislature. And right now, if you do a poll, like the poll that was done during the election of those for and against, you probably only have 6 senators who would sign on and vote for a part-time legislature. Jim, myself, Joanne, and I shouldn't be like that. That's how we talk in caucus. Senator Moylan, Senator Brown, Senator Ada, and myself, came to the conclusion that it may be time to pass this along and have a referendum. And the thing is don't do that, 8 months before an election where it's disruptive and can come across as being political. Do it day one so that we can have a 2-year conversation about this issue and give the people an opportunity to express their views.
Yeah, because I see it would place the question on whether the Guam legislature should indeed be a part-time legislature. Why does indeed need to be in there?
Well, the construction of the construction of the bill, rested with Senator Moylan's office. I did review it. I don't know whether indeed needs to be there, but maybe that was a way of putting an exclamation on it. Yeah, the language was more about the intent of the spirit of the bill. But yeah, I would have to ask Senator Moylan why we needed to say indeed.
All right. Thanks, Senator Duenas.
Thank you, Senator.
Hey, I really enjoy your show and look forward to discussing this bill as we go forward, and look forward to working with the governor's office. This is a collaborative effort. It's not an adversarial position from our perspective. It's, come on down and work with us. That's what the people, I think, are asking for, and I hope to get favorable consideration. Have a great day, guys. I'm going to enjoy the rest of the show with you.
Okay, thank you, Senator.
Take care.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and we're coming back with Dr. Hoa Wen, the Physicians Advisory Group Chair, right here on the link. It's The Breeze 93.9.